me to kind of come around to the idea of what Juice Plus actually was. I really liked the fact that there was a lot of research done on it, and it was endorsed by medical professionals as well. And I suppose where I really thought that it would benefit in our family was my son. He was 9 at the time, Daniel, and he wouldn't eat any fruit and veg. And even if I hid it in his food, he would spit it out and he would just not eat it. So he wouldn't eat any fruit and veg for me. So I decided, right, okay, Juice Plus for him. And after 6 weeks, he had developed psoriasis over the previous 12 months, and it was very aggressive. It was very painful, sore, itching. His skin was red raw. And he actually did some swimming lessons with school, and his classmates were asking him, could they catch it, and could they get it from him, or could they get it by swimming with him? And when he came home and said that, my heart nearly sank, it nearly broke, because I could just see maybe that teasing in his future, bullying, and low self-esteem. So within 6 weeks of taking Juice Plus, his psoriasis was gone, absolutely gone, and I couldn't believe it. And I remember, I was thinking about it today, and I remember exactly where I was standing in the kitchen when I turned around to my husband and said, Daniel will never be without Juice Plus again. Because I never wanted him to be in that position of where, he might get teased or asking, was his psoriasis contagious? It was kind of recession time. It was still a difficult time in our house. And I just said to David, look, I'll take out the business. I never want him to be without it. So that's when I took advantage of the Healthy Starts for Families. I started taking it myself, and I didn't really notice any difference for the first few months. The first benefit I felt was not having the 3 o'clock slump. I would come in usually after picking the lads up from school, grab a coffee, maybe a biscuit, chocolate, whatever. And then the next benefit I saw was waking up before the alarm. Even if I got 8 or 10 hours sleep, I was still dragging myself out of the bed. Since my last child was born, every month I would be drained for about 3 or 4 days, absolutely exhausted, on prescription medication to help me with that. And I'd say at this stage now is probably on Juice Plus, maybe 6 months, introduced the berries, and found that my energy levels were up. I was getting migraines closer and closer together, so just every 6 weeks I noticed that they stopped. So I used to have a throat infection that would need 2 antibiotics to get rid of. Didn't have that. I haven't had that since. And I suppose when my husband saw the benefits that I was having, he agreed to go on them as well. So David is self-employed, so he's up at 6 in the morning, and depending where he's working in the country, he could be home at 7:30. He was falling asleep after his dinner, no quality of life. He would have Lemsips up by the tea bags and whatever cold remedy, what else he could get from the chemist. So our 2 girls then, Aoife would have got an inhaler at winter time. So I think she hasn't had, maybe once she had the inhaler, one winter she's had the inhaler since we started. And that's because she's a teenager and knows better than mom. And I can always tell if she's skipped a few days of Juice Plus because her face breaks out in spots. So I just remind her again, and she knows herself that, that this is, she has to keep it up on a daily basis, or it's not going to have the effect that it should do. Neve, then we found out earlier this year that she has dyspraxia. And the OT described it to me as like when I first learned to drive, that the concentration that I needed to make sure I didn't crash into anybody or, kill anybody, that intense concentration. And she said that's exactly what it is like for Neve every single day that she goes to school. And I thought, oh my God, that is crazy to be under that much pressure every single day. And I just thought back to, say, the first couple of years of her schooling. She had an awful lot of sick days, and I actually got a letter from the school explaining some of the sick days because she had exceeded the sick days allowed. So luckily for us, I had her on Juice Plus by, I suppose, first class. So really and truly, she hasn't had any sick days at all over the last 5 years. So that's great, especially with the issues that she has. And the other advantage that I certainly was not expecting was the financial benefits and how that has changed our lifestyle. We used to have a health insurance that would include the GP bills, and we don't have that anymore. So that's a difference of €300 a month to us. And I also, like I mentioned, David is self-employed, so he hasn't had any sick days, which means, when you're self-employed, if you don't work, you don't get paid. So that has made a huge difference to us as well. Over-the-counter medication, you would not think that, that those things are so expensive when you kind of add it all up. And that's what I did one year. I underestimated, because as I was saying, we'd have over-the-counter medication, we would have a prescription. My husband, actually, one of the great benefits that we had this year was that David's family would have high cholesterol, and he was on statins for the last 10 years. And he went for a full checkup earlier this year, and the cardiologist has taken him off statins as well. So all those little bits, when you're sick, you'll find the money for the doctor, you'll find the money for the remedy and the chemist. But it's an estimate of about €5,000 a year. It's made a difference to our income, which means that we we go on a couple of holidays a year. We're healthy, we can plan things, we don't have to worry about anybody getting sick, because we never miss anything. The kids have never missed school chores or anything like that. So that is, I suppose, the great benefit that we have found over the last 5 years.
That's unbelievable, Rachel. It's absolutely fantastic. And to be saving the money, it's a massive thing. But yeah, it's absolutely, you've had fantastic benefits for all of your family throughout, yourself, your husband, and your children. It's absolutely fantastic. So I am delighted to have you on tonight, and thanks very much for coming on. We'll have you on again another night, and really great to have a chat with you tonight. And I'm just going to explain the products